Tonight's the night that I plan my hit.
What's happening, y'all? It's your man Big Tigger from BET Rap City The Basement. And on the weekend of April 20th, Suge Knight, the notorious leader of Death Row Records, was released from Mule Creek State Prison after serving 5 years of a 9-year sentence for parole violation. We were able to sit down and talk to Suge before his release about Death Row Records, Interscope. We talked about Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, and of course, Tupac Shakur. You're about to view that interview in its entirety and in Suge's own words.
To have a vision and believe in something, you're going to work hard at it. And when I had my vision to get in the music business, my whole motive was to work hard at it and be the best at it. So I treated this like it was a football team. My background is athletes, for us being athletic, being on a football team. So I looked at it, well, it's going to be like a training camp. Having the artists, have the producers, have the writers, have everybody together, where they eat together and then they sleep together and they work together. And the chemistry going to sound better because the album it's going to be much fuller. Instead of somebody just talking about me, it's going to be about a variety of different things going on. And for us with the Jimmy Iovine's and Ted Fields, yeah, true enough, it was a situation where their company was on the way out, and I had an idea for us. Death Row was going to take over and not only blow up Death Row, but also blow up Interscope. And I just fell in that factor of the oldest game in the world. For us that I'm not a racist, and I don't look at it like that because when I grew up in Compton, we didn't have time for racism. You know, everybody was just middle class or poor. So it wasn't about rich and it wasn't about poor, it was just people. But as time goes on, people will tell you it's serious racism when it comes to business. And, you know, by me being ghetto, I'm saying, no, you know, it's not like that. But in my case, it was like that. If with Jimmy Iovine, them looked at it and said, okay, Suge Knight got Death Row Records. He got the producer, he got these artists. I mean, for Dre as a producer, he was a producer, making 25 grand maybe a year at Ruthless. When I got him out of Ruthless to be on Death Row, he wasn't a rapper. I'm saying, okay, I can make you an artist because I was also his manager. So when Interscope seen the whole game unfold for us with Dre and Snoop, then Pac was the biggest star of all of them, and the Dog Pound and all these groups, they seen the vision, they wanted it. And you know, I wasn't, by me being a street guy, I wasn't gonna let nobody come up to me and say, I want your label, I want your groups, give it to me. Because I was the only black guy that owned his masters, his catalog. And they weren't able to take it from me, but they was able to manipulate, to interfere with my contracts and get the talent. They was able to say, okay, Dre, we want you on Interscope and treat you better, give you more money. That would have been fine, but what they would do is they would give an artist money, but they would still charge it back to me. And I think one of the situations is that they was able to pull their scheme and their ideas off by me being in prison. Because there's two things that I always say, being from the ghetto, either they're going to take the money from you, which you'll be an OJ. And if they can't take the money from you, they take you from the money. The only way they take you from the money is by you dying, deaf, or in prison. In my case, it's prison. So it's definitely a lot of situations that it's an eye-opener that people really got to learn from, not my mistakes, but the way I was treated. And then if you look at a person before you judge me, you got to look at it with the situation that was brought to me. I know you was asking me earlier when I got cut off about Interscope. Like I said, I don't have nothing negative to say about Interscope. At the same time, when Michael Fuchs from Time Warner offered me $80 million and then build me 2 state-of-the-art studios to leave Interscope and go strictly to Time Warner, I turned it down because I started with Jimmy and Ted. But if you ask, what have they done for me since I've been incarcerated, ain't nobody sent me a book of stamps, a pair of shoes. So I guess a lot of people don't understand the loyalty. I know they got a lot of, took some artists, took some producers, and before I was incarcerated, but it was in the process of it was already started up. And I know when, I don't have nothing negative about any member that's ever been on death row. Anything they got going on is good. I wish the best for them. It's a difference between having a hit record and being a superstar. You know, a superstar, if you walk in a room, everybody want an autograph. You got some guys sell a lot of records, but they really not a star. And to have a powerful record company is the presence. You can have a guy that have a hit record out, and your record label don't have that presence, so when they come to the awards, it's no big deal. So therefore, it's like the whole package. Put on a superstar, put on a hit record, and when they presence makes people say, hey, you want a few more front row seats? You know, it's a big difference. And that's the difference, I think, that the excitement that is lacking right now for the music business. But I'm quite sure things will be back to where it was and even better.
1, 2, 3 into the 4. Snoop Doggy Dogg and Dr. Dre is at the door, ready to make an entrance, so back on up.
Before I have to pull the strap out the cut.
Give me the microphone first so I can bust like a bubble. Compton and Long Beach together, now you know you in trouble, cause ain't nothing but a G thing, baby. 2 loped out G, so we crazy. Death Row is the label that pays me.
We're definitely going to take over the movie business, do real movies. Like you said before, people doing documentaries and they started Death Row, but you don't hear no Death Row music in there. If you own Death Row, you got something to do with Death Row. How could you talk about Death Row and don't have the music? Death Row, that's like having Motown, doing a thing on Motown and Berry Gordy, and don't have the Supreme singing, and don't have Smokey Robinson singing, because it goes hand in glove. So we definitely going to take over the movie business for doing great movies, and the artists. Death Row is an artist now. It's about the youth. It's about Jay Valentine, a teenager who's an R&B singer who looks real nice, can compete and beat anybody out there. His brother, the PB, he was an R&B singer, and you got Crooked Eye, who's the best in the West Coast. You got Hutch as a producer. You got SKG's probably the best female rapper out there. You know, you got all these things and these options where we're giving the real music back to the people. Yeah, definitely. When he was in prison, incarcerated, it was all bad for him. I mean, if you talk to anybody that know him, he was in a situation where he goes to prison. And you know the rumors, you know the situation, or all was there. Interscope, or anybody else, anybody of that matter, he had a manager before then, he had people before then. Now one person said, okay, I'm gonna go get Tupac out of prison. The time Tupac got his girl to call me and said he need me, I wasn't late. I'm on the next thing smoking to go down there to get him out of prison. So, and I don't regret that because, you know, that's Pac is another half of me, which is a little brother. So anything I could do to help him, it was great for both of us, not because of his talent as an artist. You got a lot of people that like Pac because he can rap. I like Pac because of Pac, because of who he was. And if you look at it, is everybody now, since he's not around, everybody claims that they was great friends. Everybody do a show. Some artists knew him, but like Pac and Snoop at the end hated each other. And you could tell that by the simple fact that when Snoop did Dogfather, Pac was not on not one song. And Pac didn't like Dre. That would change the Death Row camp because of the jealousy of Tupac. Because Tupac was now all of a sudden now, he's this major star, and he getting all the light, he getting all the attention. So, you know, that, to me, you know, was childish on their part, but they can never feel the shoes that Pac felt. I walk in the light that he walked. Dre came and had a conversation with me. He said, look, I want something more than anything in, you know, possibly more than anything in the world. And I said, what's that? You know, anytime anybody away, it gives a person an opportunity to say things or do things. And I understand what people would like to say, what people like to do. And if it's Snoop, I wish him the best. And my interviews don't have to be about Snoop. Let Snoop live his life. If it's about Dre, I wish him the best. My interview don't have to be about him. Let him live his life. The Dog Pound, whoever. But I think as a man, anything you say once, you got to be able to say twice. I'm going to respect you if you can say it twice. If you're going to speak bad about somebody and you're going to put accusations on somebody, be able to sit down and look him in his eyes right now and say, yeah, I said that. I did that. And you know, and everybody else know that those things don't happen. There's a difference between being a man and being a male, between being a rider and being a coward. Not to say.
What all the homies saying?
Hell yeah. What all my homies saying? Hell yeah.
It's just another day for Dre, so I begin like this. No medallions, dreadlocks, or black fists. It's just that gangster glare with gangster raps. Them gangster tracks makes the gangs of snaps. Words of my homies on the street. And words of these hype-ass lyrics and dope beats that I hit you with, that I get you with as I groove in my 4 on D's. Hitting the switches, bitches relax while I get my proper swerve on. Bumping dog style and about to get my serve on. But before I hit the dope spot, gotta get the Remy Martin and my soda pop. Now I'm smelling like ninja. Bus stop full of fly honeys and skeezers. They wanna roll in my funky 6-4. Pancake front and back, side to side and all that. So when I crawl, I comes correct. Now if your hoe with my ride, it's your hoe you check, fool. Now let the Chevrolet slide as I dip and make a trip to the south side, yeah. What all the hookers saying?
I know when Dre came and had a conversation with me, he said, look, I want something more than anything in, you know, possibly more than anything in the world. And I said, what's that? And he said he wanted to be white. I said, well, look, I ain't God. I can't make you white. You know, I'm a manager and all things. I mean, you can make enough money and you can act white and you can live white, but I can't make you white. And he said, well, Jimmy told me that he can put me on a level where I don't have to cuss on my records and I can live that type of way. He said, Jim, you know, and I was shocked. I was like, well, you know, where all this come from? Being black and all of a sudden you want to be white, you know. I tell him the only way to be, you know, white, you probably can never be, but if you can marry a white person and you can have, then your kids more likely to be more white instead of just black. And, you know, I feel we friends because he take my advice because he done it. You know, he married a white lady, he got, you know, mixed kids, which is good. Anything is good for those guys to live their life and move forward.